Tigers, to the 4th edition of CCN.
This past month the temperature have been all over the place. One moment it's hot, then it's freezing the next.
I know, Agiza. It's been tough not only on us, but for cars as well.
Yes, the constant temperature changes can be good for all the cars.
Temperatures dropping, it becomes more and more important to check the maintenance of your vehicle.
The average college student should do several things to maintain their car in the wintertime. One thing is very important is to make sure that you have the proper antifreeze, the mixture between water and antifreeze so that the block doesn't freeze. With the antifreeze full, that also helps the heater to work correctly as well. Another thing, having your tires checked, proper inflation, good tread, things like that.
Not only do we need to maintain our vehicles, we also need to keep the right gear in them to prepare for the worst.
Just for safety, I would have some type of blanket or something to keep you warm. Flashlights, make sure your cell phone's charged, have a charger with you.
If you are planning to do some traveling for the holidays after some snowfall, make sure to let a loved one know when and where you are going and when you'll arrive in case of an emergency.
Those are some great safety tips Jim Deli gave to make sure not only ourselves, but our cars are prepared for the colder weather.
It's great to know that information with the holidays just around the corner.
People are going to be traveling and need to keep in mind about the cold weather.
Or there are things for people to try just in case they don't want to travel or they don't have a car.
Traveling is always a good idea for spending your school holidays. You can go to Denver as we did last break.
We have been to Denver for 3 days with my friends, and actually it was really amazing trip for us. And I have some advices for you how to travel really cheap. First of all, I would recommend you to use booking.com. On this website, you can find really amazing housing for good prices. The second advice for you, it is couchsurfing.com. On this website, you can find absolutely free housing everywhere around the world. And in Denver, we found their housing for us absolutely for free. And our host was really amazing man who drove us to the mountains in Denver. And it was an unbelievable trip ever. Another advice for you, it is buying tickets in advance. It's just like you can buy tickets without luggage and without carry-on and just use your personal item. It's enough when you're going out for a long time somewhere and you will save your money.
Traveling is such a good way to get out and see new things.
It's a great way to view different phenomena that occur in different places.
Yeah, just how we were able to watch the blood moon that just happened.
North America was able to watch blood moon at November 8th, or total lunar eclipse. What is that and how it works? Professor of astronomy class at Cowley College, Todd Shepard, explained this natural phenomenon.
Sunlight that is coming off of the sun, we see it as white light, but all the colors of the rainbow all going to be intermixed together. Some of this sunlight, as it comes in, it's going to graze Earth's atmosphere. The vast majority of this light, as it's streaming through Earth's atmosphere, is going to go in and be scattered away. And so the only thing you're going to have left is going to be the orangish red light that passes through. This red light, this very tenuous red light, falls on that surface of the moon. So when we look up and we look at that lunar eclipse, we see the red, which is what we call the blood moon. I got to see the one a couple of years ago. I have a few pictures of it. It's a beautiful sight when you get to see it.
It was the second and last lunar eclipse of 2022 and the last total lunar eclipse until 2025.
Being able to learn about the blood moon was so fascinating.
Blood moons are rarely ever talked about, though. They only happen ever so often.
It's wonderful to explore something new.
And to expand your knowledge on things you already know.
Or things you may think you know about.
Thousands of Indians were killed, wounded, or captured and sold into slavery, and it decimated the Wampanoag and smaller tribes near there. So, thinking about Thanksgiving from an indigenous perspective really changes things because the story we all grew up hearing in school leaves an ocean of voices out of the conversation. That story dismisses the history of natives before Europeans came to start off. They were here for thousands of years before the Europeans even got there, and it doesn't even talk about that. It also makes it bloodless. That colonialism was not without a lot of bloodshed. The Mayflower also was not the first contact with what is now America. And the natives had at least a century of contact with Europeans who led massacres and raided villages for slaves. And it's true that the Wampanoag leader wanted an alliance with the Pilgrims, but the reasons for that are misleading in the myth of Thanksgiving. He wasn't just trying to be friendly, and he certainly wasn't inviting Europeans to take over land. His tribe had diminished greatly after suffering an epidemic, and he was looking for numbers to fight against warring tribes. Land was offered under that precept, but they were led to believe that the English were buying into Wampanoag country, forming an alliance, and not taking it for themselves. The myth of Thanksgiving also seems to dismiss the fact that the indigenous are still here, despite all of these odds, and that they weren't wiped out, which brings me to the National Day of Mourning, which is a good place to start when you're thinking about what Thanksgiving really was. So in 1970, Frank James, who was the leader then of the Wampanoag tribe, at 350 years after the Mayflower landed in this 1970, he was asked to bring a speech, or asked to give a speech at a dinner to commemorate that occasion. But he refused to celebrate anything that was embracing this misleading school book narrative of the Pilgrims. Instead, he focused on describing how the Pilgrims desecrated Native American graves, stole food and land, and decimated the population with disease. The descendants of the Mayflower didn't like his ideas for the speech, and they wouldn't allow him to speak at the dinner. So he wound up sharing it on Coles Hill near Plymouth Rock, next to the statue of a former Wampanoag leader that year. So the plaque reads, "Thanksgiving Day is a reminder of the genocide of millions of Native people, the theft of Native lands, and the relentless assault on Native culture. Participants in the National Day of Mourning honor Native ancestors and the struggles of Native people to survive today. It's a day of remembrance and spiritual connection, as well as a protest of the racism and oppression that Native Americans continue to experience."
There is a lot of different activities to do during the holiday season, but one of them would be playing games with your family.
Yeah, we play a lot of Uno and card games, and we get kind of aggressive. I have a large family. I have 10 people in my family, and so it gets pretty wild.
And while playing games with your family, it can get competitive as well as aggressive.
Well, I have a good amount of brothers that are younger than me, and they have some anger issues when they play, so they definitely throw the remote and break a lot of things, and we gotta control them and their temperaments, but I really like playing games with my family. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's good for the holiday season.
And while you're enjoying playing games with your family, make sure to eat healthy and hearty foods this holiday.
The seasons are changing, and Laura is switching up her selection to reflect the cooler temperatures.
For winter weather at the deli, actually, I just ordered some new soups today. I'm going to have a potato cheese soup, and then I did order a broccoli and cheese soup, and I plan on serving with a side of a sandwich or something like that.
Now we take a look at our best-selling foods.
Probably my wraps. I have a crispy chicken wrap, and I have a turkey bacon ranch wrap, and they seem to be the hot item. I grill them on my grill.
We're ending off with the nice, refreshing drinks the deli has to offer.
My cold drinks are just my fountain drinks, my iced tea. My iced teas are pretty hot, and I do have a cherry limeade that I make. Oh, and I also have iced coffee. I have all flavors of iced coffee, and people really love that. But I have cappuccino, hot chocolate, and then just the regular coffee.
Well, that's going to be our last edition of this year.
But we'll be sending out individual packages for you guys to watch.
We will see you in the next year. Bye,
Bye,
guys.